Hi, I'm Commissioner Melanie Morano, and I'm here with my fellow commissioner.
Hi, I'm Paul Drake.
And I'm here with Laura DiPrato from
Hi, I'm
our
Laura.
Somerset County Agricultural Development Board. Laura's also the proud owner of Final Touch Plantscaping right here in Somerset County. We're here today at Sudan Farms in Franklin Township, Somerset County, to celebrate and commemorate 40 years of farmland preservation right here in Somerset County and the 40th anniversary of the Cultural and Heritage Commission. Local artists were paired recently for an event we're calling Farm to Frame, in which our local artists were hired, commissioned in their medium of choice to reflect some of our local farms that have been preserved right here in Somerset County. So today, we're at a working farm, so pardon any of the noise or the background that's going on. This is part of what it's like to be on a working farm. But we're going to be planting terrariums, and Laura's going to show us, because she's got the green thumb, the green 10 fingers, and show us how to do this. Laura, thanks so much for being here today.
Such a privilege to be here, and thank you both for being here too. And this is an activity that anybody can do anytime, anywhere, any time of year, and anywhere, whether they're at school, whether they're at home, whether they're visiting a loved one. It's an activity that you can do solo, you can do it with other people. So we're going to garden together in creating our terrariums. Have you two ever made one before?
No, I think it's a good time. Really, when we talk about now that the winter is starting to be past us, you know, people are looking forward to getting their hands in the dirt and growing something, planting plants, getting things to grow again in the spring. But I think being able to sort of start it off indoors, and you set it off outside when the weather is clear of frost.
Yep.
But getting things started now, you can do in-house, and it gives you sort of that feel for spring is here, and we're really excited about that.
I am so eager to get my hands in the soil. I can't even begin to tell you. And so we're going to do exactly that. And with that, so when we say the word terrarium, one vision of what a terrarium container might look like, the varying types of containers that people use are so varied that, and some of them can be run very expensive. But we're not going expensive today. We're going with simple things that you would have around your home. And we went ahead and just picked some jars and even a bowl. Yeah, right, a bowl. And Commissioner, you have yours, I have mine. So we've got different sized openings. He has basically no obstruction in his bowl opening. And terrariums are fantastic because, well, let me just say one little cool thing in history about how terrariums ever came to be. Their finding was a complete accident, and that was in 1842. So Dr. Barshaw was actually growing moth pupa, and he discovered that in this enclosed environment, moss and ferns just took off, and that is how terrariums came to be in 1842. So we're going back to 1842, and with that, they've come a very long way, and as part of that, cacti and succulents are the big buzz today, if you will. How many places can you go into? And as far as your eye could see, there are so many different types of succulents and cacti. Cacti are succulents. Not all succulents are cacti.
Good to know.
Okay, and cacti can most likely be identified pretty much by their thorns. I didn't pick anything thorny today, guys, so you're off the hook with thorns. I can't tell you how many times I've actually pulled thorns out of my fingers because I do love to work with cactus, but we're not doing that today. And so what we're going to do is the following. So you both have your containers. I have mine. Now, this is an enclosed container, right? So first thing we want to do is create a healthy environment into this container. So how are we going to do that? Go ahead, ask.
How are we going to do that, Laura? Very interesting. How are we going to do that? How are we going to create a living environment?
We're going to use active charcoal.
All
right. And the wonderful thing about charcoal is it allows for, when you have an enclosed in container, a pot that isn't draining, you don't get oxygen flowing through it, and then you get a not so pleasant odor. and that's carbon. And so there's no oxygen in there. So our active carbon is going to prevent that issue from happening in your enclosed container. Okay. So what I want you both to do is, and you could just take turns, is take your active carbon and put like a nice teaspoon in there, and then just shake it around the bottom. Okay.
Where do you find this, Laura?
You could now, years ago, it used to be stores that specialized in fish. They sold fish and things, but now you can get it in big box stores, of various types. So,
Can you eat it?
no, you definitely do not want to eat this for sure. And now I don't have the label on mine anymore, and you'll hear me say this throughout. Always read the label. Always read the label. If something comes with a label, read it. So you're doing this at home, do not dismiss the label of whatever you're handling, okay? We don't have any labels here for this activity, but I just want to encourage everybody, if you're going to make a terrarium, and again, you can use any container you want, we just have to be using these. You want to make sure that you know what you're working with, and do not ingest anything. Even when you read the label, just don't ingest anything is my, safety is number one. So, okay.
Do we have enough in here?
Yeah, you do actually.
Okay.
So that was our first step, is putting some active carbon in here by way of some charcoal. Now with that, okay, well, what do we do now? So the order of our layers at this point doesn't really matter. And so we could go with some soil, some stone, or some stone and some soil. So it doesn't matter. And if we want, why don't we just go with some stones? So you both have some stones. Commissioner, grab your stones. And there are all kinds of little, any tool that we use for this activity, you probably have in your kitchen. So measuring cups, some plastic spoons. If you don't want to use plastic, you just want to use a regular teaspoon, or anything that allows you, and you could use your hands. So, and you could put enough stone in there that you don't see the bottom, and that it's a little generous, if you will. So you might actually have like a 1/2 inch layer of stone or more. It's up to you. And the stone is going to actually help as your drainage, as we start to add our layers for our terrariums. Okay.
Laura, does it matter if you got stones from your backyard or something?
Actually, it doesn't, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I've cheated many times. I've done that. I just literally beg, borrow, and steal from whatever nature has on my own property. But even out in the woods, or wherever you have access to nature's materials, and the materials we're working with today, except for the carbon, you can grab in nature, literally.
Okay.
And we're not going to go outside right now and start picking succulents out of the ground. That isn't going to happen.
Not in New Jersey.
Not in New Jersey, anyway.
Well, some sections.
Some sections, but yes. Take some extra stones. Go ahead, Commissioner.
The white looks pretty.
Take some.
Am I even going to see the white though when this is all done?
You know what? You will. You will. It won't look as perfect and as pristine, if you will. And that's okay. So if you want to go ahead and add some more, you can even do that too.
Okay, sure.
All right.
Sure.
We've got stone, so let's use it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Nice bowl.
And we have our containers. And by the way, Commissioner Drake has an opened aired bowl, if you will. So his hands he can access to create his garden. And yes, we are gardening. Right now we are gardening, and the wonderful gardening, the benefits of gardening. And she has a slightly narrowed opening in her jar, but her hands are small enough that she's going to be successful. We want to set you guys up for success today, and anybody at home who does this. So think about what container would A, look pretty, but B, is functional, and C, but they're not in order here, that you can be successful in creating your terrarium. So we will all be able to be successful today because we have access.
When do we get to the soil?
Right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So are you satisfied with the way?
That's great.
All right. Grab the soil. Grab that pot of soil.
Right.
Now, I will point out something very important about the soil. So this is an all-purpose soil. I did not moisten this soil today in this red pot. So when the commissioners and I go to scoop, we want to do it very gingerly because it hasn't been moistened. Otherwise, it will fly. Okay, into the air, and you don't, soil, plants, even some of the powder from the stones, you don't want to be ingesting that, because we're in close quarters, meaning we're close to our containers, we're handling them, we are in an enclosed greenhouse. So we always want to be considerate of, you could start scooping, by the way. Just don't fill up, just put some soil, because we're going to be topping once we put our plant in there. So you could show the folks at home, Commissioner, how loose that soil is right now.
Very loose, look at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, and you don't want to pack the soil down. I know our natural tendency is to start packing soil down. We don't want to do that. So I'm going to give it a nice little shake to kind of even it out, and you can both do the same.
Beautiful bowl.
Beautiful bowl, and again, we're all going to be successful with our planting activity. So I did not choose cactus for this activity, but what I did was I went around in my own garden with my living room garden, not the 2 couches and coffee table living room, but my living room. I have a lot of plants in there of various types. So this morning I went ahead and I picked some succulents out for both of you, but there's no cacti, there's no thorns. So what I would suggest is, you have a larger surface area for planting. We have less space for planting. So what we could do is, and why don't you two just start handling and sharing just to examine and look at the succulent. I would pick out 3. And Commissioner Morano, I would go with maybe 2. Maybe one that's slightly larger and one that's slightly smaller.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to do the same in mine. I'll probably just pick one from my container. Okay. And look, we're done with the video. They're already planting. So we're done.
Good plant.
Right? This is a nice succulent. So I want you to hold up one of your succulents for a minute, both of you. Hold them up, whatever you have in your hand. And what is a succulent? A succulent is a water storage plant. So does it feel like it's kind of fleshy and thick? It's got a thickness.
Is this an aloe?
This is a type of aloe.
Yeah.
And by the way, aloe is not a cactus and it is not a succulent. It is, but it isn't. It's in its own category. And there's actually aloe vera in here. And you know what I'll do? I think I'll work with the aloe vera. So,
and I noticed none of these have roots.
Well, and so I cut those.
Okay.
I cut those. When I took my aloe out off of the mother plant, if you will, I was able to, some roots came with it.
Okay.
So we're going to be successful whether I have roots and you don't. So what we're going to do is, I want you to remove the bottom leaves on yours, on both of your succulents, and you too, Commissioner Drake.
Oh, all right.
So any leaves on there, you're pretty good actually. Yeah, just pull those off at the very bottom, 1 or 2. Yeah, I'm not pulling off any, by the way. And Commissioner Morano, perfect.
All right.
All right.
So we got a little stem here.
All right, and Commissioner Morano, I'm actually going to have you snip the bottom. See how you have a curve, a slight curve on the first one? Yep.
Do you want it to be
I want you to
straight
snip it on an angle. Do it quickly. All right, and remove the leaf right there. Yep, because we don't want any leaves in direct contact with the soil.
Oh, no.
And you can read what each of your stones says. You could do an eeny, meeny, miny, mo, or just handle one.
Wow, Paul, you got a big garden. I think you should have my garden, and I'm going to have.
And it is your garden. You just created a beautiful terrarium garden, and you can lay that in there. And I love whimsy, so you can add your own whimsy. I have terrariums at home.
My garden.
See that? That is I can take a picture of that. You look really good. I'm so proud of you.
And I like the way it goes different heights. here.
Yep, different heights. And so the goal.
Artistry.
It is artistry. You just did you just express yourself?
I did.
Yeah.
You did. You did.
I do all the time with plants.
Yeah.
Makes me feel good.
And
it helps you feel better.
I have to tell you, there you go. I actually feel better just having walked into the greenhouse here and before we even got started, right? And then we get to plant as well. So I'm not going to do anything more with mine because if you really want to just go bare bones and that is more than enough for you and you say, okay, this is where I draw the line, I quit, then I just quit for you. Okay, we quit together and we have aloe. And by the way, I do use aloe at home for a lot of different things. And you can Google at home anything that we've talked about today in much broader detail. I got to get them out of here because they're just
too much. We are in a greenhouse. So
we're happy in a greenhouse is what we are.
Place.
This is a really great place. So, and this is manageable. This is really manageable.
That's good for our schedules.
It's good for our schedules,
good
right?
For our schedules.
And very low maintenance, folks. we're probably talking about a few droplets of water every few days. And I mean like that. Okay, go grow, 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 and boom, you're done. Put it down. Okay, you're not going to be pouring water
Now,
into
what
this.
about, do they need to sit in the sun, or can they sit in the shade, or where do you put it?
Great question. You could put it in the kitchen. I wouldn't put it in a dark closet. How about that? And without any light. Do not do that. Or a dark room. Any room that has the presence of light to varying degrees, and your terrarium is going to do just fine. Now we're in a greenhouse, so this is not direct sunlight, right?
Right.
We have filtered sun coming in, great environment. And if you have a room somewhere in your home, I do want to point out that I wouldn't put this like where you have what I would call extreme freezing temperatures, meaning it's in a window where there's a tremendous amount of condensation and the cold, at least for right now, it hits below 40 degrees. I would encourage you to avoid placement of your terrarium in an area like that. And otherwise, and again, some light, just fine light, okay? And rotate it too. Don't be shy about rotating your container over the days and the weeks and the months ahead, so that, because the plants are going to grow towards the light. So by rotating, okay.
Well, here we are celebrating the county's Farmland Preservation Program, 40 years of preserving farms in Somerset County. Great story to be told.
Yes.
Great opportunity to get out and plant something and dig in the dirt.
Yep.
And we also encourage you to come on out on May 24th to our celebration for Frame to Farm to Frame.
March
24th. Is that what I said?
Yeah.
March 24th, Farm to Frame. And it's a celebration of our farms throughout Somerset County. We had commissioned 40 artists, or 40, how many artists? 30 artists, and there were 40 works of art have been produced. And they're on display at the County Administration Building. And they'll be through the middle of April on display. But come on out, look at the great farms. I know even the artwork is for sale. So if you want to hang something in your house, buy a piece of art at the local farm to frame activity, come on out. We look forward to seeing you. And again, keep digging into the dirt. You really have a great day.
Enjoy.
Happy spring.